Yo, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another video on the Sightly channel. Today, we are going to be discussing, manga spoiler warning, the Boruto is dead theories. So, throughout the course of this week, I have uploaded 2 theories already, and a third one, which is this one. The 3 theories on how I think Boruto can come back to life after being clearly murdered here, alright? Nobody's surviving that, okay? So the first one was Boruto implanted a karma on someone else and he reincarnates that way. The second one was the Jogan manifests and is able to save his life. And the third, and one that I believe is probably the most likely, is adult Sakura using the one's own life reincarnation technique, also known as Kisho Tensei, using that to revive Boruto the same way that Chiyo revived Gaara. Now, I think this theory has so many reasons it has to be the way it happens. One, let me just go and quickly disprove the other ones. One, I think that Jogan could still manifest. I just don't think it should be the thing to save him. I don't think Boruto should reincarnate out of somebody else because that seems very out of character for Boruto. Whereas this, let's say, Code, we're at the situation here where Boruto's dead. Now, Naruto flustered and sad and shocked and scared that his son just died, and Kawaki just having killed him. Naruto is not going to want to bring Kawaki back to the Leaf, obviously. I think what's going to happen is Kawaki is going to go with Code, but what's going to end up happening is Code, Ada, Damon, Ada and Damon are going to betray Code, and then Kawaki's going to stay with Ada and Damon while Code is out doing his own thing. I think there's going to be kind of 3 sides here. Code's team, Ada and Kawaki, and then the Leaf. And then after that happens, I think Boruto is going to get brought back to the Leaf, and he's going to be presented in front of Sakura at the medical ward if there is any way for him to be saved. Now, Sakura is the greatest healing ninjutsu user of all time. Greater than Tsunade, definitely greater than Chiyo. So I personally believe that the Kisho Tensei technique is something she definitely would have learned throughout her 13 years that she was practicing, right? It just makes sense that way. So let's say Boruto's presented in front of her on his literally a gaping hole in his body, bleeding out, already dead. Sakura would realize that the only way to bring him back is through this technique. And it's hard to say if she would want to sacrifice her life. It's hard to say if Sasuke would let her sacrifice her life, but Sasuke isn't in the village right now. Sasuke could possibly still be looking for them. So let's say Sakura does give up her life. She uses Kisho Tensei. She revives Boruto the same way Chiyo revived Gaara. And then what effect would this have on Sarada? Now, I used to believe that Sarada would get her Mangekyo Sharingan from the death of Sasuke. And I still think Sasuke is going to die. But I think it would also make a lot more sense for it to be from the death of Sakura that she awakens it, and the death of Sasuke where she gets EMS. Does that not make sense, So, Sarada has been living with Sakura her entire life. She loves her dad, but her dad has never really been there for her up until just recently. Whereas Sakura has been there for her entire existence. So seeing the death of her mom to save one of her best friends and possibly future lover, that is kind of poetic and kind of beautiful and very sad. But I think that would make so much sense considering all these factors here. It would, one, awaken Sarada's Mangekyo Sharingan, which would cause her to get a big boost in strength, kind of bringing her up to that tier where we saw Boruto's at now with his new karma form, where he was kind of relative with limit or code, which is kind of unbelievable to say right now, but he was. Hey, so real quick, I just wanted to cut in and say I am talking about this form of Boruto, not the Borushiki form. I know in the Borushiki form he was completely decimating Code. In this form, in Chapter 64, he was a lot more relative with Code. And I think that with the Mangekyo Sharingan, of course she wouldn't be on this level, but it would be a big boost in power. I've heard debates say that the Mangekyo was like a 3 times amp, and we know that Sarada now is already like Jonin level. If you don't believe that, I mean, reread and rewatch Boruto, please. But yeah, I just wanted to cut in and say that to clarify. This would help her bring her up to that level, and it would allow her to get more manga screen time because she has barely any. They have been doing Sarada and Mitsuki, that's his name, so dirty in the manga. Same as Konohamaru, bro. Konohamaru's been taking fat L's throughout his entire existence, bro. Get Konohamaru out of here, man. Anyway, but this would cause just a skyrocket of effects here. So we would, and it would be very grim, right? We would have just seen Boruto die, possibly Shikamaru die, and then Sakura die, and then Sasuke would have come back and seen that his wife is dead and now his daughter has the Mangekyo Sharingan. Like, this just would have been crazy. And then Boruto, think about how shitty Boruto would feel knowing that he gave up his life to stop people from dying, to stop Momoshiki from killing people, but then Sakura gives up her own life to save him anyway. And then the effect this would have on Naruto as well, seeing Sakura, who was his old crush and one of his best friends, die. Like, there would just be so much sad shit going on, but it fits the course that Boruto has been setting up towards. From the very beginning, Momoshiki said, "Those blue eyes will take everything away from you." That clearly is indicating that Boruto will lose a lot, right? And we've seen the destroyed Leaf Village, so we know that some of our beloved characters, a lot of our beloved characters, are going to have to die here. And I've already accepted it, and I think it's a good thing for the story of Boruto. And if it starts with Sakura, that would really realize how big of a shift this is. Sakura is one of the OG Team 7. She's one of the original characters. Seeing her die would be a crazy big deal. And then, again, we would get the Mangekyo Sharingan, and we would get Boruto coming back to life in a way that seems fulfilling. You know, him reincarnating out of somebody else, that's kind of... it's out of character for Boruto, considering why he wanted to die. It was to save people. Unless he implanted his karma on Code somehow and manifested through Code, I don't know. It's a weird situation. But, that just seems pretty out of character for Boruto. The Jogan theory, we've seen the Jogan in the manga is kind of supposed to be this, like, godlike power. So that's what makes me think, it might have the ability to revive him somehow, because godlike power is usually considered to be beyond the concepts of life and death. But that one's not very solid either. This one, it's a jutsu that we have seen revive people from the dead before, from the greatest healer of all time. And it would have an effect on Sarada as well, who is another one of the main characters that I really want to see shine throughout the series. I just think this is the best outcome. I feel like if they went with the other two, it would still be cool and interesting, but this one would be just the most traumatic, because a beloved character like Sakura is dead. Naruto just had to witness his son die, and then he has to witness his friend die in return for his son's revival. Like, there's just so much that would come from this. The more I think about it, the more I realize this is what needs to happen. By the way, shout out to Pepsi, supporting it every day. You know what's up. Oh my god, bro. Anyway, I think this is the theory that needs to happen. That's why I uploaded it last, because this is the one I'm most excited to see happen. I really want to see this. God, I want to see this, dude. Okay, I'm going to end the video because I'm getting too hyped. But what do you guys think of this theory? I think this one is definitely the most likely. It brings up a lot of the more emotional circumstances, and it makes a lot of sense as well. It's not like it's an ass pull like Boruto just awakening the Jogan and it reviving him. That seems like kind of out of nowhere. But let me know what you guys think. Me personally, I think this is the path they should take. It's really hard to predict Boruto as a series because, you know, the last chapter, the last thing I predicted is that Boruto was going to die. You know what I mean? So it is hard to predict. But between these three theories, this is the one that I want to happen the most. Anyway, that is it for this theory video. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.
Yeah.